nenge wathi naku. Wathi woke we muito naku. Hey.
Hey everyone, welcome to Conversations with Kalekye, the podcast where love finds a voice. This is our 6th episode, guys. Imagine that. And we have amazing stories lined up. Today's guest is fire. If you've missed any of our past episodes, please check into YouTube or Spotify and you'll find Conversations with Kalekye there, and just watch back because there's something there for everyone. If you'd like to be on this show, drop us an email, conversationswithkalekye@gmail.com, and we will be able to get back to you. So, our guest today, oh my gosh, this is a lady who I really am excited to hear her share her story and also tell us, is there a hope for love after assault? We just finished the month of love, the month of women, and we are here now saying, look, there's a lot more that goes on for women who've been through tough experiences, for anybody who's been through a tough experience. And who better to have than a woman who stands up for other women, a woman who is all about protecting the lives of women who've been victims of sexual and gender-based assault. She is the Executive Director and co-founder of Usikimye, Kenya. Welcome, Njeri Migwi.
Thank you.
How are you, Njeri?
I am okay.
You're okay?
Yes.
You're good?
I am excited to be here.
You know, a lot of people have seen you stand up and do big things, you know? And sometimes when you're viewed, you might be viewed as, oh, this is a lady who's bigger than life. And in fact, she has no problems. You know, when you're fighting for others, you are a strong person. And that's the view that the world may have. And so when I was watching you doing the End Femicide March and you were leading a whole, you know, the whole country with women who went out to the streets and were marching for this cause, maybe there are people who might be wondering, what's her story? Why are you so passionate about standing up for women who've gone through violence? What is your story?
My story starts when I was a 15-year-old girl who read Mills and Boons
Ooh.
and Harlequin and Sweet Valley High.
And believed in love.
And believed in absolute love. And, you know, a prince coming to sweep you away and take you. And yeah, I met my prince at 15.
Wow.
Right?
15.
I was in Form 3. Innocent, naive Christian girl. See you, cheerleader.
Where?
So, very equipped. Also, I thought.
Yeah.
Until I met this man. He was older than me. He was obviously driving.
Mm-hmm.
I was a naive schoolgirl. Unajua, a Jesus freak. Totally sold out. And I met this man. And before I knew it, I'd been swept off my feet. Unajua, Mimi, I grew up in Kariobangi South.
Okay.
Next to Buruburu Estate.
Yeah.
But also my dad used to be a teacher.
Okay.
And yeah, so when your first date is at Hilton Hotel, I think, yeah, standards are different.
Confusion.
So before I knew, I had tumbled. And here I got pregnant at 15. And I think for me, being a Christian, being a leader, being somebody who used to sing in church, being somebody who was renowned for all that, the shame for me was very overwhelming. And so I ran. I couldn't face my dad. Yeah, so I ran away.
Okay.
It's actually my dad when he was pregnant. I had absolutely no clue that you can get pregnant the first time. Look back.
Yeah. I'm looking at it like you're a Christian girl, you're 15. The knowledge you have
I had zero knowledge. And the little knowledge I'd ever had was that you can't get pregnant the first time. I mean, it wasn't even like now that I'm an adult, I can literally say that was a terrible thing.
Yeah. But you didn't know.
I didn't know. And so when my dad told me, why are you vomiting every morning? We need to go and see a doctor because maybe you have malaria. And I was like, yeah, probably. I mean, it didn't even click to me that, sometime in that holiday, that August holiday, I did something. And now 3 months later, I am out here just, doing the most. We went to Metropolitan Hospital and the doctor says, does the test and tells me you're pregnant. I want you to understand that I was raised by a single dad. So the enormity of being pregnant is not something I even understood what it meant. So my dad is like, she's what? And I'm like, huh?
What is that?
What? The enormity of it all hadn't sunk in. So we go home and my dad tells me, you do understand what it means to be pregnant? I'm like, no. And my dad is like, I need you to bring the boy responsible. I'm like, responsible for what? And it's like,
Responsible for
for
what?
getting you pregnant. You have a baby in your stomach. Jerry, you have a baby growing in there. Oh, so I was told to bring the man. And I was like, okay, I shall bring him. And that was the last time my dad saw me. Because when I went and told him, hey, I think I'm pregnant, he told, and my dad wants to see you. And he's like, we don't have to do this. My home is big. Come. And me, in my romantic bag.
He wants me. We are
I'm going to be a
going.
wife.
Oh my.
So off I went to be a wife.
At 15.
At 15, pregnant, knowing nothing, having these romantic illusions of what marriage is.
And how was that marriage?
Oof. Let's just say I lived in that marriage for 15 years and I have 2 beautiful children
Yeah.
that came out of that marriage.
Beautiful.
I am also deaf on 1 year.
You're deaf in 1 year?
Yeah.
As a result of this marriage?
Yes. So I don't hear from this year. I lost 75%, but I'd gone for a test the other day because it's gradually getting worse and I need a hearing aid.
Oh my.
Yeah, so that's why you see I lean like this because I don't hear.
Because you don't hear properly.
Yes.
And so that hearing issue is as a result of violence in that marriage?
Yes. So I was married in a very wealthy family.
Okay.
I had everything you can imagine, like a girl would want. Let me just fast forward and go back to getting married. I gave birth at 16, obviously. My dad, oh, I love that man. My dad came to look for me in those leafy suburbs. And my dad told them, listen, I know you guys have money to do all these things, but I want my child to go back to school. And she's going to go back to school because she's a child. And even if you have money, I have her birth certificate. So release my child, let her go back to school. Because I'm a teacher. This is not the end of higher education. So my dad made sure I went back to school and finished my Form 4. And when I finished, he made sure I went to college.
Oh, thank you, Dad. That's a dad's love is so important, especially with his daughter.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for that, I'm eternally grateful. I am who I am because my dad made sure that even in the middle of what I felt was the biggest mistake of my life, my dad made sure that, you know,
You got some grounding.
I got some grounding, and I did. And but shame is a big thing. I don't think Kenyans really understand what it is to live in shame.
What was living in shame like for you, and what was your biggest shame?
I couldn't face my dad. I just couldn't. I didn't want him to see me pregnant.
Even with him being so accepting?
Yes. I think as a 15-year, and this is something I will tell to parents. We tend to assume that when a teenager gets pregnant, they become an adult.
Mentally, they're still a child.
Mentally, you're still a child. You don't think like an adult. Because now I look back and I'm like, what was wrong with me? Like, what was the big deal about all of this? But then I realized I was a child and I thought like a child.
Yeah.
And literally, I'm so glad that when my dad came for me and I went to stay with him, he literally understood I was a child.
And he treated you as a child.
As a child, because let me tell you, I would sleep and that baby, I'm a child. See, I'm 16. Me, I sleep the sleep of the dead. That baby would be kicked out of the bed.
Because you're a child.
Yes.
And you're both, and the other child is also sleeping. So we all sleep.
Yeah. So me, I turn the baby chini ya kitanda. And, you know, I'm here, I'm sleeping. So finally, my dad is the one who would take the child.
Wow.
And, you know, take care of him. Because he understood that this one sleeps like this. I mean, there are times when my dad would come late and if I've locked the door, he would know automatically that one, even if we go knock her bedroom, she will not open.
Wewe ni wa kulala.
Yes. So I need you to understand. So for most parents, they already parentify you because you've gotten a child, not understanding the responsibility of a child and a teenager.
Yeah.
Does not make them anything else. They're still a child who's growing up. And I want adults to understand that. That is still a child. And I need you to treat them like that and understand that the additional responsibility of raising a child becomes a community affair, not a one-person affair.
Because the child it needs to be brought up, and then the child's child needs to be brought up by people who are adults.
My daughter is in that age.
Okay.
And I look at her and I'm like, my goodness, this is a proper child.
Now imagine her having a child.
I look at her and I'm like, man, no wonder I was making all those blunders. The reasoning capacity to reason like an adult is not there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so when I look at her and I'm so glad that I'm there to be able to, to guide her and to tell her, listen, It's okay. We get to make mistakes. We get to do ABCD. You do not need to be afraid. I'm your mother. Come to me. Talk to me. But back to, so I got married. And as I said, I was a child. So immediately I finished school, I'm looking at my dad and, my person is there at my bedroom and telling me, come, we do life. And so I went to do life.
You went back.
Yeah.
At this point, how was the relationship? Because now you're in your father's house and he's, at his parents' house, I assume.
Yes. But he was slightly older.
Yeah.
The relationship is going, it's
Everything
still
was
very
fine.
romantic.
Okay.
We haven't started into the violence. The violence settled when we started living together.
Okay.
Because remember, first of all, me, I'm a child raised by a single dad. How I reason, how I look at life is very different from maybe somebody raised in a two-parent home, be somebody raised by their mother.
Okay.
I wasn't raised with gender norms. Remember, I was raised by my dad.
Yeah.
My dad cooked.
Yeah.
My dad cleaned.
So you knew that it didn't matter who you are. If you're in this home, we all do the work.
Yes.
Okay.
So if my dad is cooking today, I'm cleaning the dishes. If I'm cleaning, I'm cooking, he's cleaning the dish. So the gender norms were not something for me. I just assumed that's how the world worked. And so here I am married with a baby, with somebody raised in a two-parent home, in a very patriarchal home that actually believes boys, shouldn't do certain.
Boys don't even enter the kitchen.
Yes. Sasa, you see the way now upbringing is different.
Yeah.
He's from a very wealthy background. I'm a teacher's child.
Yeah.
Right? We lived in a city council flat. So obviously very different lives. And I'm expected to do certain things. And I don't understand why.
First, you don't know what those things are.
Yes. And I don't understand why.
Okay.
Because why? Kwa nini? Si mtoto ni wako. So why can't you clean him? Like I literally, and I would argue my points. Because I remember my dad, people used to say that time that in Kikuyu say garari, argumentative.
Yeah.
Because in my dad's house, I was allowed to argue my points.
You could speak.
I could speak. I was allowed to argue.
Kumbe huku, he's never seen this before.
He's never seen this behavior.
Because his mother keeps quiet.
Yes. And his mother is a certain way. And now here comes a person who, remember, child, argumentative. And let me tell you, I used to be argumentative. I was not going to let you win. I will argue. You will beat me, but I will still argue.
My goodness.
Yes. Because, I'm
this
used
is
to
what
winning.
You know. And
this is how I grew up.
Yeah.
Like you have to, my dad would say, prove your point.
And because he's a teacher, he was doing it for you to grow
so
and
like,
think.
Why do I have to wash dishes? Why can't you wash dishes?
We're two of
what's
us
the difference? We're the two of us. And up on you,
Vita
slightly like
ilianza
this,
sasa.
You get a nice slap. And I'm horrified. I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, this is how marriage looks like.
Oh my.
So you get beaten for arguing. And the argumentative little girl, somewhere along this marriage, died. And started understanding that if you argue, if you try to say this is who you are,
or
if you
to
present
prove
yourself,
a point,
yes, you get beaten.
So you shut down slowly.
And the violence continued. He wasn't that kind of a violent person that will beat you every day.
Okay.
But he's a kind of a violent person that will beat you a very good beating that will last you 2 years. But even between the beatings, there was a lot of psychological and emotional abuse. And I think for me, that was the worst part of it.
Because it was breaking down the confident woman your father had raised into this person who can be stepped on.
Shrunk.
Oh my.
When I tell you I became a carpet, that's how much I shrunk. This man made me believe. And I tell people that, and people don't see it because they see this bold, confident woman.
Exactly.
When I tell you I was timid, I was so timid. And all I used to do was pray and tell God, change this husband of mine,
And that's what we're taught,
Yeah,
Even
and that's what you're taught in
what
church. You're taught,
pray for your husband.
Pray for your husband. I would pray and I would first. He would tell me, you're so ugly. I look at my pictures that time and I was a baddie. Girl, I want to fight. I want to go back then and fight for this girl because I was a baddie. I look at those pictures, I'm like,
You are Anaka, fine young girl, painting.
Painting. Your figure ilikuwa inashtua. Anywho, that was then. I was so scarred that I look at back and I'm like, if I tell you, Kalekye, and I think I should show you those pictures because I look at them and I'm like, what was going on in my head? And I forgive myself. Like I was having a conversation with my therapist and my therapist said, have you gone back and just tell Njeri that she was okay?
Yeah. That Njeri who was in that situation.
That Njeri that went through that it's okay that now you occupy space that you're a person now, and it's okay to have gone through all those things. But I'll say there, anybody who looked at me would see this, beautiful girl living a beautiful life, driving a Range Rover, living in Roslyn. I mean, your children are in the top end schools. So everybody who looked at me had.
There's no way
If
would
it
have
was
imagined.
this time of, Instagram and everything, I would have been, those people who have all that following because, I'm doing life. I'm in London.
Yenyewe,
I'm in Hong
you
Kong.
are living the life
Yes.
that many of these young
People
girls crave.
imagine.
Yes.
Imagine. And I was miserable and I was dead. Now, the thing about my old pictures is when I see it, there's no light in my eyes.
So you can tell.
I can tell.
We are going to put up those pictures. Thank
Yeah.
you. You're sharing them very much.
I look at them and I'm like, damn, this girl was dead. Her eyes were dead. There was no light.
But you were living a life that was the envy of everyone.
Everybody. I think when I shared my story on another network, in a bit more depth, and so many people came on the comments and they're like, but I know her. She used to take a child to this and this. She looked so happy. And I'm like, oh, I was miserable. I was dying.
So what did he used to say?
Oh, first of all, he made me believe I was the ugliest, person he'd ever seen. That's why I laugh when Twitter trolls come to me and tell me I'm ugly. I'm like, boy,
Hiyo nishaambiwa.
come again. Even if you call me a Komodo dragon, I'm okay. I've been there, done that, got a t-shirt. Baby, you can't make me. You cannot shrink me.
So, something that maybe someone may be sitting there not understanding, like I am not understanding. When somebody tells you you're ugly and they're still staying with you, I mean, like, if it's something I don't
I'm
like,
doing
I
you a
don't stay.
favor.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing you a favor, being with you.
Because no one else will.
No, why would anybody else want you? And let me tell you, there's a verse in the Bible that says faith comes by hearing.
Yes.
And hearing by the
Yes.
word of God, right?
Yes.
Now, I also want you to understand that shame comes by hearing. And when something is repeated too often, you start believing it.
The power of the tongue.
Yes.
Then you start telling yourself, even you now, what can you do?
Yes. And even me, I was in let me tell you the first time I had somebody tell me I'm beautiful. I was in a plane. I was traveling to Hong Kong. There was this fine Ethiopian man. He came and told me, he sent an air hostess and he said, I want to upgrade that girl.
Wow.
I think I was in economy, and he upgraded me to first class where he was seated.
Wow.
And he told me, you're such a beautiful girl. I'd like to know you better. And I'm looking for
who is he talking to?
Where is the beautiful girl? Because it can't be me. Cannot be me.
So how did the rest of that flight go?
This man kept on telling me nice things, and I was looking at him in absolute horror.
Any blank.
Like I was looking at him like, you were mad. And I remember he gave me his card and he gave me $1,000 to contact him. And Njeri ni nani? Hi, babe. I met this man. Let me tell you. The next time I went to Hong Kong, my husband was in that airport. Tuliachania Nairobi, but I got to Hong Kong and he was in Hong Kong.
Because now he was afraid there's somebody who has told you you're beautiful?
Do you know how shocking it is for you to have left somebody at the airport in Nairobi, but to see him in Hong Kong when you arrive?
What do you mean?
I'm just dragging my bag and this man is sitting.
Wait.
I think that was the most horrific. People ask me why I have this startle. If you stir me, I get a panic attack. But I do not understand. I used Kenya. I used to use Emirates a lot.
So you've gone through a commercial flight, you've gone through transit, nini. It's taken hours, you've landed. And the person who said goodbye to you and saw you off is standing there. Yeah, alichukua jet.
Alichukua Kenya Airways direct.
Where? Because
yeah,
to monitor you.
Yes.
So you were being monitored.
Yes.
You were being emotionally and mentally abused.
I had a bodyguard.
You had a bodyguard.
Yes. After that incident, I had a bodyguard.
To watch and tell where you
But you see, in my head, I didn't think like that. I thought because, wealth.
Oh,
bodyguard,
protection.
Yeah. I'm being loved. I mean, I make these mistakes and I get beaten.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, this is how marriage looks like. So, you get beaten occasionally, vibaya, sometimes you find yourself in hospital. Small things like those. But see, that's how marriage is. So I become humble, I become submissive, I become this wife. I was that wife, by the way. When people talk about submissive wives, baby.
Despite all the things you went through,
yes,
you were still submitting.
I was fighting for my marriage.
Because you believed in marriage.
Yes, I did. I absolutely did. I'm the kind of person who would go, let's say, I'm the person who used to do the. So now, part of the things we used to do is we had a business. We used to run a business,
Okay.
a big business. I will not say what,
Okay.
because certain things,
Yeah, that's fine.
there is an NDA in place.
Mm.
So there are certain things I won't say, but we ran businesses and they were in Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda. And then I would have to go for purchasing outside of
Of the country.
the country. And I'm the kind of person who would write, hey, the Kikuyu in me is like, yes. I took a taxi from the airport.
Accountability.
Accountability. Airport to.
You are a good wife,
I was a good
Njeri.
mom, please. When it comes to good wives, I wrote the manual, baby. Proverbs 31. That was me.
You
And
know-
praying and believing and fasting and trusting and getting beaten.
How many times can you remember that you were beaten? Because you're telling me it was one kichapo, 2 years, that it was so bad. When's the last one that you were like, now enough? Was there ever one?
Let me tell you, the one beating that was so bad for me is not even the one that injured my ear. It is a beating that. So, our bedroom, the furniture was marble. This is important, not to brag, but to say what happened. So
Okay.
he hit me so hard, I fell on the marble. And
Marble
is
is
like
stone, yeah.
stone. So I fell and I hit my head and I fainted. I was unconscious for some time, and I think he thought he killed me.
Because you must have hit it so hard. And I'm sure there was blood everywhere.
Yeah. And so he put me in the bathtub
Okay.
and he put water and he left.
So that you drowned there or what?
So that if I'm dead, see, I drowned in the bathtub.
But you hit your head.
But who's
That
going
was-
to find out?
Oh my.
Thing is, my baby was 2. My baby came to the bathroom. That's who woke me up.
Oh my.
So she kept on crying, Mom, 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 Mom. I think in the middle of all that, I heard her cry. And I heard her and I came to. Yeah.
Wow.
That was a bad beating.
That was a bad beating.
That was bad. And I literally wanted to leave. And I had started to develop a relationship with my mom. And I called my mom. My mom said, pack your things, I'm coming for you. But he came before my mom. And he's a sweet talker. And he sweet talked me. He sweet talked my mom. And I stayed.
Njeri, you stayed.
And I stayed. Wow. For another 4 years.
So what made you leave?
Believe it or not, it isn't the year.
And it isn't a beating?
No. One day he's come, he's talking the way he talks. He's telling me all these things. And he told me, you're so poor. You can't leave me. Even if an excavator would come, it can't excavate you out of this house. I don't know what that triggered in me. But I sat there. And I think my mind, my heart, my soul remembered who I was. And I told myself, no, Aline, no.
This is not life.
This is it. What is this life I'm living? I left. He left and I left.
It was that.
Yes. That I can't tell you how that thing triggered me. That was it. I think my soul had been preparing. Let me tell you, in those 15 years, because we were together for 15 years, I did run away. Do not assume I just stayed there and played dead.
Okay.
I did. I ran away a couple of times. Tried to start my life. I have my degree. I got a job. Tried to start my life, but he would get me. He would follow me and he would pull me back. He made me quit my job. He promised me he will change and come and work with me and do ABCD. And I believed him. But I told him the last time I ran, and I remember I went to stay in Forest Road. I told him, this is the last time. Certainly that defiant little girl was still there somewhere. Told him, this is the last time. If you hurt me again, I'll go and I'll never come back. The last time I left, I never came back.
Amen.
I left and I left and I left. And I never looked back.
And you never looked back.
I never looked back. I even left his children because I knew I did not have the money, the resources, the wherewithal.
Yeah, because you've not been doing your own work. You have
And
nothing.
then remember, I was working for him. I did not have the knowledge that I needed to save.
So you had not put
I
anything
did not have
aside.
money because, see, we were working to build our empire for our
So
babies.
and you're that person who's been accounting every small
Yes.
thing. So you had zero.
I had zero. But the goodness is, I met a friend. She's called Pastor Stella. She's a childhood friend. And we met. And she came by to one of the shops. She just popped in and she saw me. She's like, oh, go. And we're like, we met. And I told her what I was going through. And I told her, I think I want to leave. I don't know how to leave, but I do think I want to leave. And she went and looked. She told me, what do you want? I said, look for me a house. So I would like have little money here and there.
You send
And
it
I
to
would
her.
send it to her. So she got me a house. And I started buying furniture. So when he triggered me, I had a home to go to.
Thank God.
And I ran.
Amen.
And I left. But I left with all the kids because I knew for certain
They won't.
if I go with these kids,
that would be a war now.
I'm dead. So the kids came naturally. T was 6. I remember she used to leave school. I didn't go very far. We were living in Roslyn Laundry, and I went to Moshada.
Okay.
Moshada is a bit
Just
off
a bit
Raqqa.
off Raqqa.
Yeah, so I went to live there, and T was crying when she was coming from school. She's like, I want mommy for a whole year. Let me tell you, she was brought in the middle of the night with her
Because
nanny.
she had cried too much.
Yes. It's like, and she looks exactly like me. I
So-
have a twin.
Oh.
Yeah. She's like, you look like your mom, you behave like your mom.
Go.
Yeah.
So after those 15 years, after all that violence, destroying your self-identity, your self-worth, or how you view yourself, and you managed to walk away, when did you rise up to a point where you could even say, okay, maybe I can try and date again?
It took 5 years, 6 years.
What made you decide to date again?
Shida.
Shida. Not even to lie.
No, at first, let me be honest. You know, sometimes it's good to be honest.
Yeah.
I was able to rebuild my life in those 5 years.
Yeah.
Got a business, started well, did well. Fortunately, one bad business decision and I was auctioned. I'd even managed to buy myself a car, had an office. Yeah, I made one bit, I got into business with somebody who ran away with my money. And that money encompassed my savings as well. And yeah.
So now you went back to
I started
zero.
from zero.
Okay.
And so I met this man. Wonderful man. I was not interested in love because I was like, so this was more like he told me I want a wife.
Okay.
And I was not doing so well in the department of life.
And you knew that you can be taken care of.
Yes.
How did that work
and
for
I
you?
told him, you know what? I'll be a good wife as long as you're good to me. And I had this conversation with my daughter, then 11. We had a discussion because she was like, I don't want to live with my dad. I want to live with you. And I told her, look, we have this option. So this man is giving us a home. Do you want us to go there? She's like, let's go see. So we go see. So we are like, we can live here. I'm like, so you can be a good daughter. I'm like, yeah, I can be a good wife. I told him, I may not love you right now, but I will learn to love you.
Really? You had that conversation?
Yes.
And so this was like everyone knows what they need.
Yes.
He
You
needs
want
a wife
because he has a child.
And me, I just need to be taken care of.
Yes, I need to be taken care of right now because
Mambo ya love itakuja baadaye.
hii story ya kwanza kuambia I love you, it's too early.
So
We are both grown.
How did that go?
He's like 48. That time I'm 36. So do you see?
I can
We are
see.
not kids.
I can see.
Yeah, you're solidly having
You
a
know what you're
conversation.
having and what you're getting into.
Yes.
So how long did that last?
5 years.
And what made you leave this one?
Because people sometimes are not who they are. What we agreed and what we stated did not work out.
Okay.
I'm a firm believer in keeping my promises.
Okay.
If I promise you I'll be a good wife, I was exactly that. So I need you to keep your end of the bargain is to be a good husband. So if you're not being a good husband, I'm certainly not going to stay in a marriage where there was no violence in this marriage. There was not even emotional abuse. What there was irresponsibility.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. There was irresponsibility and a bit of cheating.
Okay.
Not a bit. Cheating is cheating.
Cheating is cheating. We can't
There
call
was
it a bit.
cheating.
There was cheating, period.
And man, I have boundaries. And this time, when you're doing all these things, is when I'm beginning Usikimye.
So Usikimye is an NGO that takes care of women who are going through any type of sexual and gender-based violence, be it mental, emotional, physical. And yourself, you're not in a happy marriage.
No.
So how are you doubling this thing up? How are you one thing here?
Literally, let me tell you what happened why I walked out of that marriage.
Yeah.
I got a phone call and I'm talking to this girl and everything she's telling me, in fact, I was like, are you sure?
What was she saying?
So she's telling me her problems and her problems are my problems.
Oh.
And I'm like, so when I'm giving her advice, I'm like, yeah.
Talking to yourself?
Yes.
Preaching to the choir?
Yes. You know, there's a place where Beyonce sang and said, I'm no longer preaching. I'm taking my own advice.
Yeah.
Yes. So I took my own advice. And I was like, you know what? I said, I'll be faithful to this marriage. I will do this marriage, but it's time to go.
And amicable, I hope?
Very amicable.
Okay.
I even left with his kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because why was he not taking care of his children now?
Because I didn't trust him with his children. Remember
And what
the
he's doing.
responsibility.
Okay. All right.
Yes,
Got
so
you. Got
I
you.
left with his kids, 2 of his kids, and 1 that I had adopted. So all of a sudden I had how many children? 5.
5.
And 4 cats.
Oh, you're a cat
Oh,
mom.
yes, absolutely.
And so this is now your family today?
Yes, but I returned his kids.
Okay. At some point?
Yeah. I stayed with them for a year.
Okay.
I gave him time. I told him,
To get serious about being a
with your
parent.
life or I'll go to court and take these kids away from you.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Just say your kids.
These are yours. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the one I adopted, I stayed with.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
You're a great woman, Njeri. I hope you realize this today, that you are a great woman. I mean, you have a big heart. And if indeed you are committed to being a good wife, despite all the things you've gone through, I can see how your heart is in Usikimye and being there for these
Actually,
people.
I should read you his last message.
Oh, wow. Please, by all means, read
I
us the
should
last
give
message.
you read. Because this is the funniest thing somebody has ever sent me.
What did he say?
Let me look for him. How have I saved him? Baba. And he. By the way, babe, I'm still single. Na sitaki pressure za wamama na warembo. My life is stress-free. After doing what you have to do, I will be waiting for you.
Hello?
I miss and love you.
How about it?
Your message.
Anasema anakumiss na
Ataningojea.
So now that anakumiss na anakungojea, you know, after women go through a tough time, I mean, I thank God I've not been through that, but I keep wondering, do you still believe in love after something like that? I mean, you've been through a relationship that you thought was real love that turned violent, that did what, and you stayed and you prayed and you fasted and you did everything the word of God had told you to do. And then you meet someone else out of circumstance and they take care of you and it doesn't work. Do you still believe in love?
After I left that marriage,
Yeah.
It's been what, 3 years? Yeah, it's been 3 years. I didn't. I was like, maybe this is not for me.
Okay.
Maybe some of us were meant to be single. Maybe our calling or our purpose is bigger than love.
And marriage. Yeah.
Maybe this thing is not, or maybe I don't know how to choose, because what is this?
Why has it happened twice?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was like, no. But I took time. I'm a firm believer in therapy.
Okay.
I'm also a firm believer in healing.
Okay.
And checking yourself out. I'm not saying I was perfect in either of these marriages. I had my issues as well. I didn't beat anyone though.
Thank
I
God.
wasn't emotionally abusive. I mean, somebody wouldn't tell you something like that if you've hurt him.
Yeah.
And we talk and he tells me I have reformed and I would like us to try again. And no, I do not want to try again with him.
Don't want to try again.
Definitely. I don't think once you've stepped out and you've realized something, you want to go back to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've discovered, yes, I have a capacity to love.
Oh, we thank God for that, because that's, God is love. So to diminish somebody's love is like removing God from your heart. And that's really, really a difficult thing and a bad thing to even imagine. So you still believe in love?
Yeah.
Have you, since then, 3 years now, have you had dates? Have you tried to socialize?
Yes,
What's
I
it
have.
like? And do men look at you different when they hear your story?
Do men even want to talk to me?
Yeah, okay, let's start there. Maybe that's where I should have started.
First of all, I have this whole persona where everybody thinks I hate men, which is funny to me. I was raised by a man.
You know,
I have zero hate for men. I just want people to be responsible,
yeah,
to do the right thing. Why do we have to hate each other?
yeah.
At some point, you love that person, right?
Right.
And I do actually work with men. I help men.
yeah,
There's no man who has walked into my life and I've told him no.
yeah.
There's no man who has inboxed me and they inbox me. That's the funny part.
Oh,
They inbox me with their problems. Oh, absolutely, they do.
and you see, the thing is, there's the big assumption that it's only women who go through gender-based violence. And the truth is,
Most men don't get beaten, but most men get a
emotionally.
lot of emotional abuse,
Mm,
right? Women may not beat you, but they know how to be emotionally abusive. And men talk to me,
mm,
which is a funny thing.
mm.
And so for me, yeah. So there's always this idea of, now for me, dating becomes hard because do you want to date me because you actually see me as somebody who is viable to be dated? Do you want to date me because you want to humble me? Because
Oh, because of the fact that you think that this one is too vocal. Mimi ndio dawa yake.
exactly.
Lord
Why
help
d-
me.
So there is always that. I'm always worried. Like, what do you want? Is it me?
So
Do you-
your guard is up.
very much.
Njeri, I really pray that you meet someone who is
I
just
have.
as humble and
May
kind.
have,
You may have.
mayhaps.
Lord, we pray for that man. We pray that it may
Maybe.
be according to your will, because you know what would be brilliant is that the Lord uses you as a testimony. That no matter what you've been through, no matter what you've seen, no matter what people think or say, He has the final say. And that's what I believe.
That's beautiful.
That's what I believe. And so me, I'm going to be praying for you.
I literally told my therapist today. My therapist said, "Don't do that thing you do." I was like, "Which thing?"
What's the thing you do?
I was like, "Which thing? What do you mean?" And she's like, "Don't spoil it.
Mm,
Don't just assume this person has good intentions,
yeah.
and let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
Don't.
Be overly.
I'm so guarded with my personal space that even just allowing you to get into that personal space
It's hard.
is very hard. And I'm always like,
What do you want? It's so nice to meet another woman who's like me. What do you want?
unataka nini?
Because me,
Already.
hata sitakuwa used, by the way.
By the way, let me tell you. Nakuanga nimekupatia list. So by the time you're through the list, you're like, hey, emergency exams.
It's not that serious.
Yeah, it's not that serious.
Okay, so then now that you are at a better place and where you are open to the fact that you can meet someone who is kind, who is nice, and who is genuine, how do you advise the women that you work with at Usikimye who have gone through a hard time and faced all the challenges they've faced to be able to not only get back on their feet physically, but emotionally, and be open to the fact that love can come again? What are the things you would advise the
Let me
women
tell
out
you
there?
the funny thing. And I'm glad I'm a woman because women have resilience. There is some part of us, I don't know, this is a nurturing part, that you tend to see women actually believe in love.
Despite everything.
Somebody has been, let me ask you, how you beaten black and blue? And 3 months later, nimekupeleka safe house. Umehepa.
Ndio urudi kwake.
Ndio rudi kwake.
But okay, isn't that like a narcissistic hold on you? Because I mean, if you're going back to the same person who beat you, I feel like there's a hold, and they say for a narcissist to trigger you, there's something about you, and there's something about him, and he has identified what it is he can.
I will say not necessarily. I will say this. We live in a country and a community that is very, very firm about marriage.
Yeah.
We live in a country that single moms get abused daily. We live in a country where divorced women don't have community. So we live in a country where marriage has been made into an achievement.
Yeah, I get it a lot.
Right?
Oh, you're not married. Why are you talking
Why you
about
not
relationship? First of all, why you talk about relationships and love?
What do you know about
what do you know you?
relationships? Right? And so you'll find that most women are afraid of exploring themselves outside of marriage. So for me, when I'm talking to women, I tell them, find who you are. Trust me, find who you are, because there is Kalekye outside of everything that you do.
Absolutely.
There is Njeri outside of everything. Again, because I came from therapy, these questions are still ringing in my eyes, in my ears. And my therapist is asking me, who is Njeri? Who is Njeri?
And don't talk about Usikimye.
And he told me, Because sometimes he tells me, you've been talking about Usikimye this whole therapy session. I haven't had you. Who are you?
Without that.
Without Njeri. Put Njeri aside.
Mm.
Stop telling me about your cases. Stop telling me about the hopelessness
Yeah.
sometimes.
Si Njeri wakazi.
Hey, Ebu, tell me about Njeri, the fun,
The
the
girl.
laughing one, the one who is always adventurous. I want to hear her. I haven't had her today.
Mm.
And so I tell women, I need them to find themselves first. Don't look for love until you're ready.
Your identity.
And you won't even know you're ready.
Mm.
The thing is, find yourself first and love will find you. Because some of us, our identity is, I'm a mother. Mimi ni mama Topaz.
And after that, hakuna.
Then you don't have an identity outside of that. Mimi ni mama kanisa. Who are you outside of the church when you're not being Martha in the church? Who are you outside there when...
And I'm not being Kalekye wa media.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
When most of us don't even know how to be with ourselves. We don't even know how to sit with ourselves and know who we are. Right? As women, we are so busy. If I'm not cooking, not me, I don't cook.
Disclaimer.
Yes. I disclaim it very properly so that usikuje kwa maisha yangu ukifikiria mi nitakupikia. Bro, I don't cook.
Kuwa tayari we
I don't
pika,
cook,
ataosha.
I don't clean. Hey, baby. Mi nitaosha.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who are you? Because we're always busy. I'm mothering, I am cooking, I am serving, I am doing, but that's not who you are.
Yeah.
So I need us as women to find ourselves, to know who you are.
Yeah.
What were your dreams? What were your visions? What was your ambition? Why do you think that man is not achievable? Why do you think you can't bag him?
Why do you think you can't be all these things and still be loved as you?
As you are. Right?
I like that.
Yeah, so I need women to believe that there is something.
Believe in yourselves, women. Believe in yourselves.
If you love yourself well enough, best believe. Why would you want somebody to come and love you if you don't love yourself?
True. Because if you can't love yourself or be comfortable with yourself, go on a date by yourself, enjoy your company by yourself, why should anyone else? Yeah.
So love yourself enough. And you will soon find that love has room for you to come, to allow people to come in.
Amen.
Yeah.
And to the men who may meet a woman who's gone through this, are there certain things that they should be conscious about when they are coming to date a woman who's gone through abuse and violence? Because obviously their responses and triggers are slightly different from someone else.
When I got married the second time, and the first time we had an argument, without knowing it, I started looking for an exit.
Because a normal argument.
I automatically assumed I was going to be beaten.
Oh.
So I was looking, where is the exit? Subconsciously. I need you to know that there is trauma. You are coming to somebody who has trust issues, who needs gentleness. If you're going to pursue somebody, and please don't break them.
Yeah. Tell them.
Don't break them. Don't break them. Somebody's already been broken by somebody else. Don't be the person that completely demolishes them. Yeah. So gentleness and understanding. And understanding that you're dealing with someone who's terrified. Yeah. You may have thought you've healed. I told you, subconsciously, I was looking for an exit. And this man understood. In as much as I say I left my second husband, he was very understanding.
Oh, that's awesome.
He used to know how terrified I was of things. Because I was terrified. Because I never knew, will it come from this way? Is a slap about to land on me? I'm not that person right now because I've worked. You've heard I've come from therapy.
You're working.
I have personal therapy and I have supervision for the work.
Oh,
so I do
fantastic.
2 things in a month.
Oh, that's
I have
nice.
my own personal therapy and have supervision. So that means I'm still working and still in the process.
And still healing.
Of healing.
Yeah.
Because trauma takes a long time. We all come from different places. Your childhood trauma, your personal issues, your biases.
Yeah.
You're coming to somebody who's already biased. And I'm a firm believer that love actually works.
So patience.
If it is cultivated well
gentleness.
enough.
And truly what God tells us love is essentially is all that
actually love
anybody
is
needs.
kind, no?
Yeah, love is kindness.
Yeah.
Love is patient.
Yes.
Yeah.
And love
So-
is beautiful.
Absolutely. I'm so glad to hear that. I wasn't sure where you stand on that, but Njeri, I'm really glad. And believe me when I say I will be praying for you, I will be praying that this particular man shows himself true if that's God's will for you. Yeah.
Let's see.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. I mean, I'm
Thank you for
excited
having me.
that there's somebody at home who maybe is going through something silently and they need to understand that there can be love after an assault. There can be life after an assault, and that you can take yourself back to who you were created to be. We love the work you're doing
Thank you.
at Usikimye. Please don't stop. Keep working hard at it, and let those stories shine bright, let nobody dim your light. So thank you for being here. Guys, I know this conversation could go on and on and on, but thank you so much for listening and watching. The podcast is on YouTube and on Spotify. And guess what? We've been nominated, or I've been nominated as Kalekye for Digital Creators Awards, Content Creator of the Year, YouTube. Yay!
Fantastic.
So I'm really excited about the nomination, and I wanted to share how to vote. So you're going to take your phone so that we go into www.digitalcreatorsawards.com. Even the crew, you can just quickly take your phones and vote. You who's at home, take your phone and vote. www.digitalcreatorsawards.com.
It's here.
Yes. And then you click on the vote button.
Vote button.
And then you'll see the categories. Mine is Content Creator of the Year YouTube. Yeah. Then there's a contestant code, which is 580056. And there you will see that you can vote very easily. Yes, there's a charge to vote. It's 10 votes is the minimum, and it's 100 bob. There's a M-Pesa or select card. So even if you're abroad, you can still vote. And the best part is 50% of what you vote with, the amount you send, will be sent to us as content creators to help build our craft. The other 50%, they tell us, goes into giving us a digital masterclass and a digital summit, digital creator summit. And yeah, creating the awards will be a fantastic thing. So it's all around supporting digital content creators. And I believe that your vote counts. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you so much for voting, for being here. And guys, I just want to, as we thank Njeri for being here, also give a big shout out to the guys who dressed me for this amazing podcast. That is Deep Colors Fashion. Thank you for this amazing look. And my makeup, if you love it, it's Delish Full Service Spa. You can find them. They are in town. They are in Adlife. They have like 4 different places. They're even in Roslyn, by the way. They're all over the place. So I'm just throwing it out there. But yeah, thank you so much for being on the podcast, Njeri. And thank you guys for watching. Remember, if you want to be part of the show, all you have to do is email conversationswithkalekye@gmail.com, and we will reach back out to you. And you never know, you could be on this seat next. So thank you for being here. This is Conversations with Kalekye, where love finds a voice. Thank you for watching. Catch you next time.
Thank you.